Hi, welcome to the Frugal Frau. I'm Sukey, your host, and today we're going to show you how to make a raised panel with simple hand tools from a piece of wood like this, and this is two pieces jointed together, and we already have a video on that, so you should watch that. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn it into a raised panel, and we're going to do this with the minimum amount of tools necessary, and they will all be hand tools. But before we get started, please like, subscribe, and comment because it really helps our channel out and we really appreciate it. Thank you very much. This panel has already been cut to the correct length and width and has already been flattened. It was made from two jointed lengths of wood to provide the width needed for this panel. Tom marks a 1/4 inch depth gauge from the panel back. He is using a marking gauge to do this, and he is measuring off the back side of the panel. Be sure to do this on all four edges of the panel. Next, mark the panel raise needed for your project. In this example, the mark is 2 inches from the edge, and that is what the panel gauge will be set to. And this accommodates the 1/2 inch tenon width plus a 1.5 inch wide panel raise. Again, do this around all four sides of the board. Tom deepens the marked panel raise scratch with a utility knife. Then he cuts into that line to further delineate it. And that will help keep the plane from riding up over onto the center part of this panel. Tom uses a chisel to begin the panel raise cut. This is not necessary, but it does help to remove waste quickly so there is less to plane away. It is helpful to clean up the line between the panel raise edge and the panel center with a utility knife. Begin planing the rise by starting at the panel edge. Be careful not to plane down to the 1/4 inch mark denoting the tenon depth. The tenon will be cut after the panel raise is completed. Slowly work up the panel raise to the panel center line. At this point, Tom is mostly keeping the jack plane at an angle to better control how much is being planed off. Here, Tom cuts away the end of the cut with a knife. This is done to help prevent tear-outs. When cutting panel raises, always cut the cross-grain panel raises first. First one end and then the other end. This is because tear-outs are more likely to occur when planing across the grain, and if they do occur, they can then be planed away when cutting the lengthwise panel raises. Tom uses his Rabbet plane to clean up the edge along the panel center. He also uses it to shave off some of the angles within the panel raise. Now he switches back to his jack plane to just finesse that angle on the panel raise a little bit. He finishes his panel raise cut by switching back to his Rabbet plane. As you can see clearly in this photo, we did have a tear out on this edge. This can easily be fixed since it will be cut when the lengthwise or with the grain panel raises are cut. Next, the tenons are cut. Tom marks the tenon width with a marking gauge. In this project, they are 1/2 inch wide. Note that the panel raises were cut to just above the 1/4 inch marked tenon depths. And here, as is standard practice, we enhance the gauge lines by cutting into them with a knife and then cutting sideways into that to make a more pronounced line. Tom starts the tenon cut with a chisel. It really is much easier to cut away a lot of material at once with a chisel than with a plane. And rather than working really hard with the Rabbet plane, he chooses to hog away most of the waste with this chisel. With most of the waste gone, Tom can just use his Rabbet plane to easily finesse and smooth out this Rabbet. Now he checks it to make sure that the tenon actually does fit into the groove or mortise. And it needs a little finessing. Great, that's perfect. Just what we needed. And this is just a close-up so that you can see the panel raise and the tenon and the little tear out all at once. Both cross grain or panel end panel raises have been cut. Tom now marks the first lengthwise panel raise. The entire process is the same as cutting the cross grain raises and tenons. I am showing this because you will note that the corner where the two panel raises meet does not neatly fall straight from the panel center to the panel corner. It's going to be off a little bit after he cuts that tenon. But I wanted to show you this because at the end of this process, Tom just takes the plane and he fixes it so that that angle goes, or that line really where those two edges meet, goes straight to the corner, from one corner of the panel center to the other corner of the panel edge. Tom points that out with his fingers, and now he takes the plane to fix that line between the panel center and the panel corner. And you can see it straightening out. Sometimes you just have to finesse these things when you're cutting it all by hand. The other lengthwise edge of this panel has a knot where the panel raises to be cut. The plane will not easily cut through this, so Tom's solution is to just cut away some of it with a chisel first. After all, why work too hard? Alright, with the knot mostly cut out, Tom can just cut this panel raise just like he did the other three sides. And we're not going to show you that whole process, just a little bit of the beginning. And then at the end, of course, we'll show you the completed panel. And here is the completed panel. Please like, subscribe, and comment. We really appreciate if you do that, and thank you so much for watching.